And welcome to episode. I believe this is 11 or 12. It's either 11 or 12.
11 or 12?
Yeah, I've been forgetting.
Yeah.
Like the past couple of
It's all a
podcasts.
blur.
Yeah, been forgetting.
That
But
means you're busy. Busy is good.
yeah, it is. It is. It is. So welcome to episode either 11 or 12 of the Rorschach Test Podcast. I am your host Terrell James. Today I have a very special guest here, Brittany Mariner with
Hello.
Windmill Creek. Look, I haven't even had anything to drink yet.
I know.
Yes, Windmill Creek Winery.
It's located in Berlin, Maryland. You haven't been? You gotta come by.
Yes, definitely. It's a lot of good wine.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do a tasting today.
Mm-hmm.
In between Rorschach tests.
Yeah, I have 4 wines to taste.
Okay.
I have a red,
Mhm.
a rosé, a white, and then my first high-end private label dry red. So
High end.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that
Yeah, it's my favorite so far.
one. Okay, so before we even get into the tasting or even the Rorschach test, first tell me, how did you get involved in wine?
So it was kind of a long story.
Uh-huh.
We have a farmhouse in our family. It's been in the family since the 20s.
Okay.
And my family's always made wine on the farm. Our family recipe is dandelion wine. And get the actual dandelion flowers. We pick those. Me and my brother would be out picking flowers for the wine, like when we were 5 or 6, just buckets and buckets of flowers to make this wine. So I grew up watching my grandfather make all this wine and helping him and all that. And when I got out of high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. I was just completely clueless. I was like always into sports and stuff. So, going to college and all that was like not really ideal for me. But I knew that I needed to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So I ended up finding this wine program in Mount Airy, North Carolina. And it was just a little community college, and they had a couple classes to learn how to grow vines and to make wine. And I ended up going and taking those classes, but I focused more on the growing part of it. And as I was coming out of classes and stuff, I was finishing up. My dad had inherited the family farm. And it was just one thing kind of led to another. And I had this knowledge now of growing vines. We had all this property, and, it just kind of happened. We didn't really know when we first got started that it was going to end up being a winery. We just knew that we needed to do something with the property. At the time, or right now, it's 12 and a half acres. And the home on the property was built in 1858. So we were able to get the house on the National Historic Register, which essentially allowed us to be able to use the house as part of our winery and museum kind of deal. When I got out of college, we started the renovation on the house. And me and my mom and dad did the majority of the work ourselves, pretty much everything that you didn't need a license for.
Okay.
It took about 3.5 years and blood, sweat, and tears, but it was absolutely worth it.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's the short and sweet of it.
All right.
Can go on forever.
So what I do with the Rorschach test, I put these Rorschach tests up on the screen. I'm going to ask you, what is it that you see?
Okay.
So based off of what you see, I'm going to link that to what it is that you do.
Okay.
So this is going to be
interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
I'm excited.
It could be a bit challenging, but
I
may have to do some reaching.
Yeah.
However, we can start by reaching for some wine.
I could do that.
So.
All right. Well, I'm going to start you with the Gruner Veltliner.
Okay.
This is my dry white. Where am I going? Here. There we go. Yeah. So it is a Austrian variety, similar to like a Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio.
Okay.
It's got a lot of acidity to it and a little bit of effervescence. And you smell melon. It's got all kinds of smells going on. I get a lot of green, like grassy tones. This is, if I'm going to drink white, this is what I'm typically drinking.
Okay.
And this is my best-selling white.
This is actually one of my favorites. But I'm going to act like I've never been to the winery.
Though, so I did bring your favorite.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
of course. Got to check them out.
Okay, so as we do the tasting, as we sip on the wine, I'm going to put up the Rorschach test, and I'm going to, just ask you what it is that you see.
Okay.
And let's see if I can make sense of this and not get inebriated.
I've never done this kind of test before,
Really?
but I'm very interested. I've watched documentaries and stuff about it. I love it. I love this kind of stuff.
Okay.
So.
All right.
To diagnose me with my craziness.
Yeah. The first time I met you, I knew you were crazy, though. So.
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Okay, let's start here. So, what do you see?
So the first thing that comes to mind, I almost see like a bug face. Oh, I probably shouldn't use my hand. Like, but then I'm like, what is that? So almost like it almost kind of looks like a skull, like a cow skull or something, you know?
Okay.
Like that could be the opening, could be the nose area. I don't know what to do with the bottom. This is weird butterfly or something.
Is it a weird butterfly?
I'm picking up like immediately bugs for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like the skull. Yeah, because I could see eyes and like the nose area. Maybe it's got some toes or something.
So what I see is two faces that are looking like two mirroring faces, but they're like looking.
Oh wow! Yeah, okay, now I see it, but I did not pick up on that. Yeah. I totally see it.
And then there's like something weird coming from their heads, like maybe
like
a thought
bubble. Yeah.
In the middle, it looks like two duck faces looking at each other.
Okay. Yep.
And then right below the duck faces, it looks like two lips about to kiss. And then at the bottom, I see. I guess that's like the neck. But this isn't about what I see. This is about what you see. So
you don't necessarily need to take it as a whole picture. You can kind of break it up like you
can
did.
Break it down however you want to do it. However you want it. So do you want to give it another shot, or you want me to try to link it to it being a cow skull?
I the more I look at it, I'm like only seeing a skull, but like I don't like that could be something else. I don't know how to bring that into it.
Or the part at the bottom?
Yeah, like the two little wings at the bottom. That definitely looks like the bottom of like butterfly wings to me. Like because butterflies have that little like curve at the bottom on each side and they're symmetrical.
Okay, so you said cow skull and butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let me try to work my way through this one.
Actually, these almost look like ears too. Like it could be a dog face. I'm going all over the place. I need to decide on one, don't I?
No, you're fine, because the more you give me, the better chance I have of making it make sense.
I could see like have the pointed ears up here, the eyes, nose, snout area, and like it's holding something in its mouth.
Okay, so we have a dog, we have a cow skull, and we have a butterfly.
Okay, now I'm definitely leaning closer to the dog thing. Now it looks like a dog holding something in its mouth. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Good luck.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's start with the cow first.
Okay.
You said the winery is on a farm, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. There's the link to the cow. Cows are on farms.
Yep. Yep.
I normally try to go a bit deeper.
Yeah.
With this, in trying to link
now.
everything. Right. Exactly. Yeah. This is at least for this very first one. I may be really, really shallow. I just kind of.
Yeah. Get the flow going.
Yeah. Got to get the flow going. I'm going to try to come back to the cow.
Okay.
Let's go to the butterfly.
Okay.
Okay. So butterfly is a symbol of change.
Okay.
Right. When let's see. The winery. How long ago did the winery open? Sorry, is there weed in your wine?
Maybe. Sorry, choked on my spit there for a second.
Okay.
No, we're just starting our third season.
Okay.
So we opened at the very end of 2018.
Okay. So there have been a lot of wineries that have just been popping up all over the place. And so when you think about long term for this business, what do you think as far as having to change and evolve? Same way butterflies, they change, they evolve.
Yeah. We are constantly changing and evolving. I mean, especially with the virus and everything, we changed our business plan like once a week throughout the winter. I mean, literally like huge, big things that we had to just move on to the next thing, you know, and it's continuously like that. When you own a business, like when you're growing as fast as we're growing as well, excuse me, I'm dying.
There's no dying on my podcast, by the way.
No, but we're growing so fast that we have to change, like, on the drop of a hat, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So whether it be staffing more, or you know, we need a second bar, we need a third bar right now, but we may not need it tomorrow, so we have to break down, take things apart, redo it, you know. And that's just the physical of it. If you're looking at like the back of house, you know, the bills and everything, you're constantly trying to make those bills work, and you have to keep changing to make it happen. So
okay, so what about as far as the wines go, as far as the, you know, the wines, how, as far as the evolution of the wines, how do you make the wines get better? Now, so, I know we hear that wine gets better with time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as you know, because you say you all do the dandelions, right? Okay. So is there anything that is different about the way that you
compared to other wineries?
Right. Yeah. And it's called it's fermentation, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
it's typically, the fermentation process is typically the same across the board. Okay. Yeast and sugar make alcohol. So depending on what type of outcome you want, say like this one, you know, this is a red wine. Typically red wines, you get a dry red wine, but you can add sugar into it. You can pretty much make it into whatever you want, but it all is done in the tank, in the processing after the fermentation is done.
Okay.
So like you can come back in once the fermentation is done, you can add more sugar, you can tweak whatever issues you have. But as far as the process of doing it, it's pretty consistent across the board.
Okay.
But as far as like growing my wine list, it's pretty much, since I don't grow everything on my property, I outsource from all over the place. I can just go and I try to find the best fruit possible. Okay. So it gives me a lot more options, that being that I'm pretty much just shopping around to find the best fruit. And that the year that it's grown, that fruit is grown, is really what is going to tell you how good the wine is going to be. For instance, like if you get a lot of rain one year, you're going to have more rot and mildews and stuff. So you might not get the best crop to make that wine. So you're going to have more issues once it gets into the bottle or into the tank, you know?
Okay.
So that's what makes it different. The weather, and then where the vines are planted, and just little things all kind of accumulate to make this one glass, you know what I mean? So none of it's ever going to be exactly the same. Even though I have the summer red is constantly on my list every year, even though it's the same type of grape and it's the same amount of sugar going into it, it's going to taste just a little bit different because of the year that it grew in. Basically the weather that we had.
So I went to a winery one time, and it's been a couple wineries I've been to. They have this apple wine, and it tastes like you're literally biting into a granny apple. But there's something special that they do to that wine to make it taste that way, correct? That has nothing to do with the actual grape itself.
So sometimes with those, they can actually use real apples. That's if it really tastes like biting into an apple, like probably fermented apples got that flavor. And then you can also, like, if you don't get enough flavor out of something, you can add like additives for flavor. But that's pretty much what happens there.
So is that something that you all are interested in doing, like adding certain things just to, I mean, and I'm still talking about the change here.
It's not ideal, but yes, if we end up with we buy the fruit and we get a rain, and it drops the sugar level or whatever, we're going to add back into it to boost that sugar up. We can also, like for my watermelon wine, we fermented watermelons and it had the watermelon flavor that we needed. If we needed to, we could have come back in and added more additive to it, like a flavor to bring more of this flavor out or that flavor, or the smells and stuff like that. So it's constantly tweaking it throughout the whole process that it's in the tank. So it's a lot. It's constant change. So you're spot on with that one.
So, and the other thing, you said you saw a dog, right? And you said the dog got something in its mouth. I'm just going to focus on the dog itself, not necessarily what's in its mouth. Dogs are loyal.
Okay.
It takes a lot of loyalty and commitment to make this thing
Absolutely.
work, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yes.
tell me a little bit about as far as how time consuming it is and how loyal you have to be to this business to make it successful.
It's so. If I can give you a little background outside of me, I grew up watching my dad run a lawn service for 30 years.
Okay.
He is an incredible business owner, and he is only a business owner. When you're a business owner, you almost have to only do that.
Okay.
Like when I got into this, I was still young, coming out of college, and like wanting to go with friends and stuff, and have this party life and also a business, and it just didn't work. And it took me a while to figure that out. I mean, like, I lost a few friends, and you have to make those choices. But like you said, loyalty, you have to realize that this business, it's not like you're going in and getting paid, you have to pay yourself.
Right.
You have to come up with that money somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't commit fully and you are there every day and keeping an eye on everything, it can get out of control, and then there's no paycheck then. You know what I mean? So it's constant. You have to be really strict with yourself, basically.
Right.
And that was really difficult for me at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie yet. It was, thank God I had a big team behind me. My family was pushing me in the right direction, and they had the business mind behind them as well.
Right.
So they were pushing me in the right direction. And now I feel like I've got that under control. I've been able to focus more, and pretty much my entire life revolves around that winery. I mean, before this past year, or before the virus, it was pretty much just me and my mom. We would work the bar, and my grandma, and then I brought in my brother's fiance to work with us, and that was pretty much it. It was just us running it. So if we didn't show up, the business doesn't open.
Right. Yes.
So now we've been able to grow, and we've kind of exploded. Now I've been able to hire staff, but that's even, it's a benefit and a curse at the same time, because you bring in a whole nother level of loyalty that you don't have control over.
Right. Yeah.
So luckily I have a really awesome staff, and they are incredible, but they're loyal. And if they weren't, I wouldn't be able to rely on them, so your employees have to enjoy working there so that they're going to be loyal to you and have your back.
Well, I'll tell you this: as many wineries as I've been to, I've never come across somebody that didn't seem to enjoy their job. So maybe it's
not too difficult to enjoy.
Okay, so let's do another tasting.
All right. We're gonna go to the rosé.
Okay. Rosé has it is starting to become my favorite.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I was thinking the summer red was your favorite.
Well,
a little biased.
The summer red at Windmill Creek Winery is my favorite. But
just rosé in general.
Yes, rosé in general is starting to become my favorite. I guess the palate changes.
It does. Absolutely.
Going back to the butterfly.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, literally everything in the wine industry is constant change, whether it be weather related, wine related, customer related, business, everything is constantly changing. But the rosé, rosés in general have really exploded over the past year. I don't know what made that happen, but just across the U.S., the rosés have just skyrocketed, and they always skyrocket in the summer or in the spring, because it's you want the pink wine in the spring. I don't know what it is, but that's just what happens. But ours, I'm very happy with ours this year. We had a really good season for growing, and we got a nice blend of Chambourcin, Merlot, a couple other random mixers in there, or blenders, but a lot of strawberry, watermelon flavors. Nice dry. So a lot of people, when they see rosé, they expect it to be sweet because it's pink.
Right.
But that's not the case a lot of the time. I prefer a dry Riesling, a dry rosé. But this one is, I feel like you get a lot of that fruit flavor towards the front, even though it's dry. It kind of cuts that dryness, acidity a little bit.
It does. It definitely does.
So you get a lot of fruit. It smells like fruit punch.
Yes. I remember the first time I tasted the rosé, I didn't really care for it. So it's funny the way the palate changes.
Yeah, it really does. When I started drinking wine, I started drinking the it was like barefoot Riesling. It was like the sweetest thing you could possibly get. You know, it was like syrup. And then, I mean, that's pretty much where everybody starts. And then you kind of gradually, your palate craves the drier stuff after.
Right.
So I went from the Riesling to like a dry white, and then I'm pretty strictly like dry reds now.
Really?
And yeah, but plus I had a really bad hangover on white, so I kind of
okay, so I'm going to pull up another test.
Okay.
And it's funny that you did bring up the hangover, because what typically happens prior to the hangover is you're drunk.
Yes.
And I have some questions about that later.
Oh.
So
well, I can help you with that.
Yes. All right.
My parents are gonna be like, "Oh my god."
All right. So what do you see here?
Oh, those look like eyeballs. That looks like an owl at the bottom. This looks like the triangle. I'm a farm. The the little triangle on the dollar bill.
Yes,
the eye.
What's the pyramid?
Yeah, the pyramid.
Eye.
That's that looks like that to me. And those all look like little eyeballs. What am I seeing down there? I'm getting like, I don't know. I'm thinking like a fish.
A fish? You and these animals, and you were trying your best to make this as hard as possible.
I know. Let's see. I mean, I'm just like, I see eyes everywhere. That little triangle right there looks like the mouth of something.
Okay. I see the same thing. I see a bunch of eyes.
Yeah.
And I do see. It looks like the green part looks like grass, but when I pull back and I look at it in totality, it looks like a portal that leads to some enchanted land.
Okay, yeah. I'm getting that for sure. It definitely looks like it wants to suck you in.
Right.
Yeah, definitely like a space kind of thing.
Yep. And it looks weird. It really does look weird.
This is what's throwing me off, that bottom section. Those two triangles right there. That's throwing me off.
You know what?
UFO. That's what I'm getting. I was just about to
say they look like alien faces.
Okay, so I didn't want to say that, but I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
space, aliens, eyeballs.
Yeah.
Illuminati.
Right. All right. Okay, I'll tell you what.
You're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna just leave this.
No. Well, we'll start with the Illuminati. Are you part of the Illuminati?
Maybe. No, but I am a big conspiracy nut, so
really?
Don't get me started.
Yeah. I don't believe them all, but I do like conspiracies because they're fun.
It makes you think.
They do make you think.
Like the what if. I love the what if of everything.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things that we don't know, and we're not told.
Right.
So I think the sky's the limit. I think anything that you see on TV or whatever is totally possible at this point. I mean, we're like, there's so much technology that we don't know about. They haven't released to us. So, but yeah, I'm not going to dive too deep into that. You're going to get such bad reviews.
Okay. So what I do, I have this game that I play with some of my guests called Probably Not, But What If.
Okay.
So now that you brought that up, we're going to play that game. We're going to do it later.
That.
We're going to do it a little bit later.
Okay.
But I do have a question now because you said that.
Oh, geez. Okay.
All right. So, let's start with what you saw. So let's start with the eyes.
Yes.
So you say you saw a bunch of eyes.
Yeah, lots of eyes.
So right now, this is your business. You feel like all eyes are on you.
Absolutely. Every second of the day. And
now, do you think that people are looking for you to fail? And looking for you to succeed?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
I do. I think a lot of people, I mean, most people want the best for everybody, you know, but I definitely think that there's always going to be people that try to put you down.
Okay.
And, you know, again, going back to like, there's things that I've had to give up because I've had to focus on the vineyard, you know, so, you know, you have to, the business has to be priority because that's my livelihood and that's how I support myself, you know, and you burn bridges sometimes.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but that's part of life, you know, in business life. But
Are you really burning a bridge though?
I hope not. I hope not.
And the reason I say that is, when as we get older and we start experiencing different things, sometimes we grow in different directions from our friends. So
I
it's
feel
not
like
necessarily
that's
a bridge being
better
burned.
said. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just moving in different directions. And
right.
Unfortunately, sometimes you don't want to, but it just happens naturally.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen with me personally a few different times, and it sucks, but
Yeah, it does. And the people who are less understanding of that, they're the ones that are more inclined to say you burned a bridge.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
It's not necessarily what happened. It's just that something had to take my
priority.
focus. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Right.
life moves on. You can't just stay stagnant. Like, again, you have to keep moving.
Right.
You got to keep changing. You got to keep manipulating the situation to make it work.
Right.
So, and if that, I don't know. It sucks sometimes being an owner, but there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of stress. But
Yep.
it'll work itself out.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing you said, you saw a fish.
Yeah, a little bit of fish.
How often do people come in there and drink like a fish?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Do you have any interesting stories? Anybody getting so drunk that like they had to be escorted out or dragged out or?
Not really, actually.
Any fights?
We're pretty good right now.
Okay.
Now, knock on wood. Now that I say that, there's going to be like a brawl at the winery while I'm away. No, I mean, really haven't had any big issues. I mean, people pretty much, they're very together. Because the house, when they're there, it's like going into your grandmother's house. So I feel like everybody just puts on the face, and does their best to keep it under control. I think the worst that we've had is people like guys peeing in the yard, and that's like, guys will be guys. Get a little alcohol and then they gotta pee. Right. God forbid there be a line at the door.
Right, exactly. Okay, so you mentioned the house though. So one of the things, and you didn't speak about this, I was hoping that you would lead into it. I was going to go there anyway. Though.
Okay.
So with the history with the house.
Yes.
So it's haunted.
A little bit. Maybe. Yeah.
So this is my connection to the aliens.
Oh, geez.
How many out of this world experiences have occurred?
Okay.
Or just share some that. And hold on. Let's let them know too. They're friendly ghosts. No, there's nothing bad. There's nothing demonic or anything like that.
Totally my family.
Right.
So my family has been there since the 20s, but the house was actually built in 1858. So we've tracked the generations all the way back, the owners who first built it all the way up until our generation. That when they moved over in the 20s, and then we've been there ever since. But as far as like the ghosts go and stuff, I'm pretty positive that my grandmother haunts the dining room. My great grandmother, couple back.
Wait, that's the room that I was just in earlier, right?
No, the one across the hall, the blue room.
Okay.
The dining room table and everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
So all of that furniture in that room, the big glass hutch and the all that furniture is her furniture that's been in the house since before she passed. So I think that when people come in and they're snooty, and this is pretty much the experience we've had, snooty people in that room, something always happens. The first time that we had anything happen was we had a birthday party, and the people, it just wasn't going very well, and all of a sudden, my mom and I are standing there at the doorway, and everybody's eating food, sitting around the dining table. And we have the big glass hutch with all the wine glasses in it. It's got a lock on it. It was locked. The doors swing open, and a glass, like, not in the front, but the one behind the one in the front, like you physically can't even pull it out with your hand without knocking the other one over, flies out of the cabinet and smashes on the ground everywhere. And people are looking around like, what the hell's that? Me and Mom look at each other like, that's a ghost. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just grandma. She's good.
Is she?
Is she though? No, but like, so that happened, and then like the cabinet doors will just open up randomly, and just little stuff like that. But then so this is the biggest story that we've had. Upstairs we have 2 kids' rooms, and we've had, easily probably 40, 50 people say that they felt something in that room, if not seen something in that room. And what the story is, and I know that this is pretty legitimate because my brother has seen this ghost twice. And it's evidently a little boy, and he wears suspenders. He's got like a dark hair, bowl cut, looks like a little farm kid, you know. The first time my brother saw him, he was in the other room upstairs, and he looked around the corner and he saw the little boy just standing there, like checking out, see what he was doing. And so Ethan goes in the other room, was like, hey man, everybody's outside, nobody's supposed to be in here. And then there was nobody there. So he was like really freaked out for a minute. And that was years ago. And then just during the renovation, he had the same thing happen. He went upstairs and he saw a little boy, and it was the same little boy. It freaked him out so bad he didn't end up coming back to the house for a few weeks. So, and then, you know, over the time that we've been open, before we opened, all of the contractors that we had come through, they were working on the house. Anybody that came through that wasn't family, something happened. Like whether like the radios would turn on and we knew it was off before, like doors would be open, the attic door would be open, like the plumber was working in the bathroom downstairs, and he was hearing construction going on upstairs all day. Noon comes around and the construction crew comes through the back door, and he's like, oh, you guys take lunch? And they're like, no, we just got here. So he has been hearing this for like 6 hours now because he got up super early to be there. And so he dips. He is gone. He's like, there's something upstairs. I'm not going up there. He said it sounded like people were moving plywood and saws were going and like all kinds of stuff. Like it was legit construction happening. He's like, he was the only person in the house. And he was terrified. It was crazy. So that kind of stuff happened all the time. But now it's more of just people will come up in that upstairs room and they'll walk in and just be like, I feel something. It got colder, or I just don't feel comfortable going in there. So there's been a few people that I know that are pretty legitimate just on the fact that they came to me and were like, okay, I feel something in that room, and don't tell me anything. And I wouldn't say anything at all. I get them to tell me. They're like, I saw a little boy, dark hair, bowl cut, suspenders, and he was in the little boy's room. I'm like, yep, you got it. That's it.
He never does anything. He just stands there.
He's just hanging. Yeah. He's just chilling. We have a couple of people say that he's sad, but I don't know. That's one thing that's been tossed around a little bit. But the thing is, we don't have any idea who that could be, because I mean, we've done all the genealogy and there's been nobody that passed in the house, like a kid that passed in the house like that or anything. So the only thing we could figure out is maybe it was one of the tenant farmers that leased the house between the Shalls leaving and the Mariners coming in the 20s. It was like a couple tenant farmers there, but I don't know. It's a weird thing. Yeah. So yeah, but it's definitely something. So
as many times as I've been to the winery and even in that room, I've never experienced anything.
I have not experienced anything myself either.
Okay.
Actually, that's not true. Recently, in the past 2 weeks, we have this old cash register. We had previously had it in the kitchen, but we moved it upstairs. And for the past 2 weeks or so, every time I've come in the morning, the cash drawer has been open. And I know for a fact it was closed the night before because I had to close it. You have to like physically close it, you know?
Right.
So that's happening. But I'm like one of those that if I like come in, I'm like, please don't bother me. I have to be here. It's gonna freak me out. So I think it's my family, and I think that they know that they would freak me out if they've seen something. But I'm the only one in that building that has not heard or seen anything.
Really?
Yeah. My mom and dad both, my brother, some of the employees. But yeah, it's interesting.
That is really interesting, but I don't want it to scare people though.
Exactly. No, it's nothing to be scared about or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not like they're not the ghosts that come.
Yeah, it's just just be nice, and my grandma will leave you alone.
Yeah, exactly. Just say hi to grandma when you go there. So.
Like all the employees, they come in the morning and they say hi to the ghosts, say good morning, how we doing, everybody?
Okay, right. So let's do another tasting and another Rorschach test.
So, all right, we're gonna do. Okay, this one is my new favorite. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, this is throwing me off. Okay, this is Petite. It's a Petite Sirah Petite Verdot blend, and this aged in French oak for about 1.5 years. And it is my first like high-end wine. Very, very excited about it. I have to control myself and not drink all my stock. So this one, you're going to get a lot of vanilla notes. Mm-hmm. And that's coming straight from like those vanilla flavors. When you get a vanilla flavor, typically from a red wine, it's because it was aged in oak. And so the buttery, smooth flavors, that's from the oak barrel itself. Okay. So that changes the taste as well. Mm-hmm. So you can either age in stainless steel or the barrels, and they both give a different spin on the wine.
Right. I used to love Chardonnay. When I first started drinking wine, I was really, really big on Chardonnay. Mm-hmm. And but it was always oaked.
Mm-hmm. And there's a huge difference between the two, right?
Huge difference. Once I tasted the still aged Chardonnay, mm-hmm. I completely changed. I didn't even like the oaked anymore.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I used to, when I told you I went to a white wine, mm-hmm. It was actually an oaked Chardonnay, and I was like, oh, this is nice. It's not too bad because it's more smooth. It I guess the acidity doesn't hit you as hard or something.
Right. But is that the one you got drunk off of?
Actually, it was my Gruner, the one we tried first.
Oh, okay, all right.
I had a really bad experience with that one at the airport, and it was not good. It was the whole thing. Yeah, so I was going on vacation for the first time in like 6 years, mm-hmm. and we were gonna go on the flight. We had to be on the flight early, so I'm like, let's just have a couple glasses of wine to start off the vacation right. So my boyfriend gives me a glass, and he just keeps pouring, and I'm getting more drunk and having a good time, not noticing that he's just steady filling my glass. So I got a little drunk, and then I got a little hungover at 5 a.m., and the Uber driver was heavy on the brake, and I pretty much trash can hopped through the airport. And I had to tell the people on the airplane that I was having morning sickness. The poor flight attendant thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. So I haven't drank Gruner in a while.
That's funny. You told them having morning sickness. That is funny.
Oh my God.
That is funny.
Yeah, don't drink 2 bottles of Gruner in one day.
You did 2 bottles?
Well. It's close. Yeah, it was a miracle. It was like the whole 3-day vacation that I had. I didn't actually feel better till like the last day as we were leaving. Like, I'm never drinking again.
And here we are.
And here we are.
All right, let's put up this Rorschach test.
Okay, I'm seeing a helmet, like a Star Wars guy almost. They're like white helmets, like the Star Wars guys.
You are determined to make this hard as hell for me.
It's definitely a face. It's definitely like.
Oh, you mean the stormtroopers?
Yeah, the stormtrooper.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Looks like a stormtrooper. And then, but I get like a malevolent kind of vibe from it. It seems dark. I don't know I don't know. Almost looks like wings. These look like wings to me.
Okay. All right. You see something evil and malevolent.
This looks like evil eyes and like something going on there.
What does that kind of like a little sinister smile? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I see something completely different. I see two hunchback women looking down on 2 kids reading a book.
What?
See, so you see this is their hunchback. Their faces,
okay, yep.
And these are the kids right there, and they're
reading. I see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that's crazy how different.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know.
Huh.
It's crazy. Typically, so they say that when you see. So I believe like the most famous Rorschach test is the one where it looks like either a butterfly or an explosion. Mm-hmm. So they say if you see a butterfly, then you're a happy person, but if you see an explosion, then you're an angry person.
Okay.
So I remember being in a class one time, and the teacher, I don't even remember what kind of class it was.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher decides he wants to pull out that particular Rorschach test.
Okay.
And he's going around the room and he's asking everybody, what do you see?
Uh-huh.
People are saying either butterfly or explosion. Butterfly, explosion. I said, I see an exploding butterfly. he
looks at you and like,
he wasn't
I see
amused.
Trouble.
Right, exactly. He wasn't amused. However,
you're not wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. First of all, you can't tell me what I see.
Right, exactly.
Secondly, I was making a point that life isn't so black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
there's middle ground.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, some days you wake up, you see the butterfly. Some days you wake up, you see the explosion.
Yeah.
And then some people like me see that's an exploding butterfly.
Yeah.
You know, I see the world for what it is. There's good, there's bad.
Yeah.
And there's everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we here for again? What was I supposed to be doing? Like, what's this one. Okay. Yeah. So, right, I know, right? So you said you
I
saw
definitely
something.
see a face.
You see a face.
I see a face, and it's angry.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also see wings, like angel wings.
Okay. Oh.
So that's throwing you right down the middle too.
Right, it is. It is. All right, we're gonna start with the angel wings.
Okay.
Your grandmother. Those are grandma's angel wings.
Okay.
Angel wings, yeah.
I'll take it.
All right.
I'm also very religious too, so that could be a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me this. You say you're very religious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, how do I connect this? How do I do this? Okay. So
I'm making this hard. I'm really not trying.
No, not that. The way
I'm known to be difficult.
the way I want to word this question, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this.
Okay.
Being in the wine business, have you come up? Well, first, let me ask you this: did you grow up around a bunch of religious people, whether family or in church, whatever?
I grew up in church.
Okay, so did you ever? Have you come across people who have an issue with you being in the wine business?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, that was kind of my driving force. I'm a little bit rebellious.
Okay.
No, yes, I did come across that a lot, actually, when I first started in the wine industry. Really, when I first went to college, and coming from church it's definitely frowned upon.
Yes.
But in my beliefs, I believe that Jesus drank wine. I don't think that there's a problem with it unless you overindulge and you are making bad choices, you know. But I think that there's a way to do everything in moderation, you know.
Okay.
So that's where I stand on it. But I know that I definitely ruffle some feathers with other, people's beliefs. But I think that believing is one of those things that is going to be unique to every person as well. Okay. Everybody's got their own walk and relationship. So
you just gave me another question to ask you when we play our game. Probably not, but what if?
Okay.
So hope I don't forget either one of these questions. But yeah, I can definitely understand that. There's so much. There's so many people who pick and choose what they want from the Bible.
Yeah.
And this will apply to my life, but because I want to live my life a certain way, this part of the Bible, this isn't going to apply. So
I try, I know that it's one of those things that it's very touchy subject with a lot of things, but you have to decide how you're going to live too. Right. You can't just kind of live off of whatever somebody tells you to do.
Right.
You've got to, in my opinion, I had to prove to myself that this is what I'm going to believe because of this reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it doesn't really matter to me what those people think anymore. It did.
Right.
It did.
Okay.
A lot. It really bothered me. I'll tell you that. It really, really bothered me.
It's understandable though.
Because
I get it.
I'm in my mind, I'm not doing anything wrong, and I'm making something of myself. I'm trying to progress my life, and maybe not in the way that you would have wanted me to do it, but I'm still doing something, and I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not hurting myself. And right now, I'm happy that I did it because I'm able to reach more people through my business now and spread the word of God than I would ever even think of before if I had done anything else. Right now, I'm having church service at the winery every Sunday.
Really?
Yeah. And we're going to get attendance. So it's not like the winery's not open, but we have church out on the lawn. People just come in, hang out, listen to the service. It's just nice.
Yep. So is the winery open on Sundays too?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
So after church ends, do people go inside and get wine?
It kind of just depends. There's some people that will hang out and spend the whole day at the winery and they'll, because it's just relaxing too. You can come in, get coffee, listen to the sermon, go wander around the wildflowers for a little bit in the afternoon, drink some wine. But it's not like they're coming in to like get drunk,
So it's kind of like when Jesus turned. It's like hanging out with Jesus, and then he gives he has church, and then all of a sudden he says, "Okay, everybody, I'm about to turn this water into wine."
Yeah.
And then
it's like he does what he wants to do. And he's not going to. And he would go to the synagogues and stuff. He'd go to all these places, but then he would also go out to the fishermen, and go turn, the fish and loaves and all that kind of stuff. He made miracles happen other places.
Right.
That is not the best way to describe that story. My pastor's going to look back at this and like, you need to go to church. No, but I think that, in my opinion, the reason I'm very excited about this is because there's maybe people out there that are looking and have questions but wouldn't feel comfortable in going to a church.
Right.
So maybe the winery would be a nice middle ground, and they feel comfortable to come in and not be judged.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Judgment-free zone. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I've been judged my entire life, and I don't particularly like it. So. It's not like it's going to stop, but at least I can kind of help other people in some way, you know? Yeah. And then the only reason that we're here right now doing what we're doing and being successful is because of what God has given us. So if this is anything, it's giving back to him in the best way that I can. So,
it makes sense. Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
Right? Just trying to do what we can. And that's not all on me either. I got to give that credit to my dad, my mom and dad. They got that started. And I was not thrilled about it at first, I'll be honest with you. But now that I've seen just talking about it now, the fact that we can talk about this, I think it's great. And I think we're doing the right thing.
Right.
But, it's not your typical winery.
No, it's not. It's not.
We like to be rebellious.
Did you decide on that being the tagline? That we spoke about that before.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to make that happen. Okay, it's not your typical winery. Right. Yeah, I'm working on it.
It was so funny how that happened. We were talking about that, and you were like, "I'm trying to figure out a tagline for the winery," and I was like, "So we were just talking about," it, and then you said, "See, the thing is, it's not your typical winery." I was like, "What's wrong with that?"
Yeah, and we were like, "I guess
there
nothing."
You go. Yeah.
I don't know.
You just came up with it. Okay, so we can do it. Oh no, we can do it now.
Well,
I'm sorry. Oh. The Stormtrooper.
Oh, right.
I'm going to try to connect the Stormtrooper.
Oh, jeez. Well, it's not necessarily Stormtrooper. It just looks like an evil face to me.
Oh, well, I don't want to do the evil face. I wanted to do the Stormtrooper.
Okay, do your Stormtrooper, then I'm more interested.
So, during storms, people like to drink wine.
This is true.
And it helps them to be a trooper.
And
endure the storm.
I like it. Yep. You went there. You did that.
I did. Okay, now we can do the wine.
Okay. All right. This is his favorite, the Summer Red. This is my best seller. It tastes like a chocolate-covered cherry. Smells like cherry. Get a little bit of the mocha flavor in the middle of the palate. Finishes nice and smooth.
I love this. This really is my favorite. This is such an incredible wine right here.
Thank you.
Yes, and the description is so accurate too. It really does taste like a chocolate covered cherry.
It's difficult to come up with the descriptions and stuff.
I bet it is
so off the wall sometimes.
I know.
People look at me like, "Are you really? You're getting barnyard?" Yeah, you don't want barnyard in your wine. Yeah. Just imagine, think about what that really is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want that. All right, so let's go here.
That is a bat. Yep, definitely.
That's a
with
bat.
Some little claws. like those almost look like spider claws and fur. Like
yeah,
it's
it
a
does.
bat mixed in with, but it also could be. It looks like a map. This looks like, if you take that middle section out, that looks like a world map.
You know, it's so funny. So my last guest said the exact same thing.
Really?
Yep. As soon as he saw it, he said it looks like a map of the world.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go with both of those. So let's start with bats. They're nocturnal. Do you sleep well?
No.
Okay.
No.
So are you up all night thinking about your wine business?
I never sleep.
Okay.
No, it's you know, it's a little bit of stress. It's a little bit of just, it takes a while to wind down after the day and kind of shut my brain off. But once I can do that, I can usually sleep pretty good. But it's, you know, it's hit or miss.
Do you ever have to get a glass or two of wine to help you sleep?
Maybe. Maybe. I wouldn't.
We'll leave it at maybe. So, the world. Have you ever thought about going to other countries to study their wine, their soil, their fermentation process? Because, well, you said it's pretty much the same across the board with fermentation,
right?
But
as far as the growing process and everything,
yeah, the growing process.
Different climates produce different types of wine,
right?
So you get different varieties and all kinds of different things across the world. But I've actually always, like, my main goal in going into the wine business was to travel. And being that wine is different literally everywhere you go. You can go 5 minutes up the street and it'll be different. And you can go across the world and that's because of the soil, climate, whatever the winemaker does, additions or whatever he does in the winemaking process. But yeah, it's everything about a wine is unique. It's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to travel. Actually, when I went into wine school, I initially wanted to study the sommelier, which is you know, somebody that like goes around and is like, you're gonna want this wine. Would you like this flavor and this flavor? You'll probably want this wine, you know. And
they call it a sommelier.
Sommelier.
Okay.
Yes, and I wanted to be a sommelier on a cruise ship and travel the world and pour wine for people. But I was only 18 when I went into college, and so I couldn't actually drink anything. That's how I kind of ended up going into the growing process instead of the wine. Sounds like a great job, though. I know, right? Yeah. I mean, maybe in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I had a cousin who was a chef on a cruise.
See, that's good too.
Yeah, so he was just always
somewhere
sailing. Yeah.
That's life. One of these days.
Yeah. So. Oh man, I had another question about the world. Man, I don't want it to leave me. It was another question. Oh, that's what it is. Where do the best wines come from? Where in the world do the best wines come from? Windmill Creek.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, Windmill Creek. I really like Spanish wines.
Okay.
Really, if you can get heat, if there's a place anywhere that's hot, California, for instance, they have such a big wine industry because the heat and the lack of rain, you don't get as many problems in the vineyard. Like issues with any rain you get brings mildews, bugs, whatever. A lot of issues.
So rain isn't good for wine.
Yes, that's why I outsource everything, because we get far too much rain here. There's a few varieties that I could grow if I wanted to, but it's at the point that I'm at now, it just doesn't make sense. I'm just going to keep outsourcing. But yeah, I mean, if you just look at a map and if you bring up like the heat radar kind of thing, and you look at the hottest places, I guarantee you those are going to be the places that have really good wine. Okay. Not like desert, but like, you know, moderate, hot, dry weather is ideal. So yeah.
So I have a question for you. You go to the store and there's this $7 bottle of wine, and then you go a little bit further down and then there is this $200 bottle of wine. What's the difference?
So are you asking me which one I would buy, or which one you would direct to, or?
Well, I'm asking more so about quality.
Quality. Okay. Yeah. So quality, that $200 bottle probably aged a lot longer. Okay. Probably came from a better growing climate, a bigger distributor, more popular distributor.
That's where I was going with it. The name.
The name, yes. The name goes a long way. Okay. Yeah. And there's some wines that if you just say the name, that's going to be good stuff, Okay. But typically, you can't just say you'll like the higher price wine better, because everybody's palate's different. Right. Like if you were to go and buy $100 red wine, you would probably still like this better, because your palate likes the sweeter cherry flavors rather than whatever they're going to give you in that high-end wine. Okay. But somebody that's super experienced in wine and drinks heavy reds, they may like that one, and that's but it's all up to the person's palate, the individual. You don't have to spend $100 to get a good bottle of wine. You could get the $5 bottle of wine if your palate likes it. You know what I mean? So there's no use in spending $100 if you know you're not going to like the wine. You know what I mean?
So it doesn't change the way the body processes it, meaning you're not more inclined to get a hangover from a cheap bottle of wine.
So hangover is one thing. The more sugar typically, and the sweet wines will give you a harsher hangover. Okay. It's your body is basically it's getting too much sugar, so it sends it to your brain. You get the headache and all that, and then sometimes people get a headache with red wines because it has the
nitrates.
Yeah. So that hits people differently sometimes. Right. But typically, if you stay with dry wines, your hangover is not as bad. Okay. But it also has to do with the alcohol content and stuff. But this one is going to be higher in alcohol than the one we're drinking now. That's what I was about to say.
Like the drier ones are higher in alcohol. So
typically, yeah. But again, it's all up to.
But it's more so about the sugar content that causes the hangover.
A little bit of both. It's a pretty equal, the sugar and alcohol content, I would say. Okay. Don't quote me on it.
Okay. Don't quote me on it. Gotcha. Okay. So now I want to play our game.
Ooh, okay.
Let's play probably not, but what if.
Okay.
Okay. So earlier we joked around a little bit about the Illuminati, right?
Aliens, man.
So will this happen? Probably not. But what if? What if you were approached by the Illuminati and they told you, you can.
You want some already? You want this one?
Oh no, what was that? Is that the same as this?
No, you want the same one?
Yeah. Hold on, is that the new one?
This is the
same. We did all four, right?
We did all four.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now we're just re-upping.
Yes. What if they said, we will make you the most successful winery in the world?
It's the Illuminati. And I know it's the Illuminati.
But you have to
join. Hell no. Hell no.
Okay.
No. Okay. But I don't know. It would be tempting. It would be tempting. Yep. But I'm too crazy for that. They wouldn't be able to handle my crazy.
Or would it be that you wouldn't be able to handle their crazy?
It'd be a good give and take.
All right, got you. Okay, so the other question
What about you?
What about me? Oh, yeah. No, I'm good.
No.
See, my thing is, now I'm gonna tell you something. I have walked away from a lot of opportunities, and I've walked away from a lot of money because I'm not willing to give up certain things.
Yes.
And I'm not ready to relinquish ownership. But more importantly, like for instance, the music industry. When I was, actively pursuing a record deal, I had a few opportunities where it really could have. I'm not going to put any names out there, but there was some pretty big names, and there were some good things that I could have. There was some deals I could have signed. I told them, and then, I'm an actor as well. So I told the film industry the same thing I told the music industry. I said, the two things that are not for sale, it's my integrity and my soul. Everything else we can negotiate. Everything else. They kept trying to touch those two things, my integrity and my soul. I said, cool, I'll get up and I'll walk away.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
You had to make that hard choice.
It wasn't hard.
No? Good.
That wasn't hard because I'm not willing to ever compromise when it comes to those two things.
It's good that
so that's never a hard choice.
Held your ground. Right. No, but I totally agree with you. It's where we've been kind of in the same situation where we've been approached and
about the Illuminati. Tell me more.
Ooh, no, just we could have options to grow the business in one way or another, right. And we're not ready to let go of the control that we have right now, which sounds bad, but
no, it doesn't.
I mean, we're so new to. We're only starting our 3rd season, so we have grown so fast. We have no idea what is even possible at this point. Like we have so many ideas, and we're pushing through it, and people will keep coming in and offering and trying to help and stuff. But once you start bringing outside people in, it's no longer just your opinion that matters.
Right.
And between the 3 of us, my mom, dad, and I, we got enough opinions happening. We are all always right all the time.
I definitely picked that up from Mom.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Mama runs the show.
Yeah, she does. She absolutely does.
Love you, Mama.
I love you too. Okay, so my other question. Let's say you're at a party.
Okay.
Jesus walks in.
Okay.
All right. The only thing at this party is water. Jesus says, "Hey, we're about to get this party started." Right? Snaps a finger. All the water is now wine. Right. So now the best wine is aged for years. Jesus just did this in a second. Would this happen? Probably not. But what if this happened? Would you be willing to tell Jesus?
Your wine sucks.
Yeah.
Hell no. Are you kidding me? You smite me right there. Yeah, drink it and be quiet, okay? No. Oh my gosh. He'd be the best winemaker. He's the original winemaker.
He is.
He's the OG.
Yeah, he is.
You know that shit good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is going down drain.
I know, right? Yeah, Sunday's gonna be really in church at the Winery Sunday.
Everybody meet me at church. I clearly need to go.
But see, Jesus is gonna cut you off too, though. He's
like, you're done. Yeah. It's back to water now.
You're almost drunk. You're almost drunk. No, I'm not Jesus. Like, I'm Jesus. I know. So
you're like, nice try, but exactly, I see you.
Exactly right. So. All right. So now, well, you did kind of talk about the you did get into the story where you were talking about how you got drunk and you had to hang. Do you have any other funny stories?
Oh God.
Now, while you think about that, let me tell you this. I have a story.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have a story from drinking.
Okay.
But from smoking weed. I'm not a weed smoker.
You're not?
No.
Okay.
I've never really been, like, I've experimented with it. But I've never.
It's not something you'll just pick up.
Right. Yeah. It's not really my thing. So a few years ago, I went to, I'm not going to say where, and I'm not going to say who I was with.
Good call.
All right. Okay. All right. So I went to a certain place and I was with a certain person. And he had this weed, and I decided to smoke. So I smoked. I got told, have you ever been so high or so drunk? Let me not.
You melting into the couch.
Not only that you tried to unhigh.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to unhigh.
Yeah.
So I was
and then you just can't do it. And you're spiraling. Yeah.
So what I did was I went into the bathroom because we actually went over to his best friend's house when we were smoking. I went into the bathroom. I was staring at myself in the mirror, and I was throwing water on my face. I was trying to unhigh. Yep. So I was like, "Ooh." Eventually, come down. So a year later, I went back to this place with this person, and we went to his best friend's house again.
Okay.
I didn't smoke. And I had to use the bathroom. I went into the bathroom. Used the bathroom. I came back out and I asked him, I said, "Why did you take the mirror out of the bathroom?" He said, "I've never had a mirror in that bathroom."
What?
I said, whoa, wait a minute.
Whoa.
I said, yes, you did. He said, no, I didn't. I said, I almost said his name. I said, you did, because last year when I was here and we were smoking, I got so high that I went into the bathroom and I was just staring at myself in the mirror because I was trying to unhide. And he said, I've never had a mirror in that bathroom.
Oh my God.
He said so this house this whole section of this house wasn't here when we first got the house. It was something that we just added on. And when we built this bathroom, we just never put a mirror in there.
Oh my God.
I said, I was staring at myself in the mirror. He said, you were staring at yourself in the wall.
That's some good shit right there.
I don't need to be smoking nothing.
Bring your friend my way.
Yeah.
Hi, friend.
So, all right, your turn.
Oh Lord.
Now you can talk about alcohol, but if you have a funnier story that involves weed,
I'm just like, oh my God, my whole life is a funny story. It's like constantly embarrassing myself, tripping and falling. I walked into a wall talking to a customer the other day, just full on, just right smack in the face.
Completely sober.
Totally sober. Yeah, just completely distracted,
and
just busy and just moving and whap.
So
knocked my whole thing, like knocked my shoulder back and everything. I was like, ball's been there a while, I guess.
I wanted a story from you being either inebriated or high. However, when you do things like that when you're sober, that's funnier.
Oh, it's really bad.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. I'm like the biggest klutz, and I'm one of those, like, I get nervous when I talk to people sometimes, and I will like, I'll start talking and like my mind works faster than my mouth can work, right? So I'll like hop sentences and I'll be like, and then like bam, 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 all over the place. And then people are just like standing there looking at me like, what the fuck is she talking about right now? Like, okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye. Okay, bye. It's just constant like making an idiot out of myself, tripping in the middle of nowhere. Like I'll pick up one of the ducks or something and it'll like smack me in the face while people are watching me, just
one of the ducks.
We have ducks. You've met the ducks, haven't you?
No, I didn't realize you had ducks.
Oh, we have 4 ducks and 4 chickens, and I'm a baby.
Oh, I did see the chicken today.
Well, yeah, the chickens. Yeah, they are so freaking spoiled. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the chicken. I'll be honest with you, it made me hungry.
That's a funny story. Okay, so last year when we got our chickens, the roosters got really mean. Roosters are like notoriously assholes.
Okay.
So they went from being these cute little baby chicks to overnight being horrible, evil little shits. And they were like chasing customers around the property and like chasing the ducks and just terrorizing everyone. So I would have to come out. It was all the time. I would be like out there like wrangling the chickens and like, okay, don't mind me, just trying to catch chickens. And they're like sprinting around the property. This one time it was just me working the bar and it was a beautiful day. We were packed. And then all of a sudden I'm looking out the window and the chicken is on top of the duck, like pulling feathers out and just being vicious. I was like, oh my God. So I dropped everything. I had a line of customers and they're like, oh yeah, go, take care of the duck. So I run out and I couldn't catch the stupid rooster. So I'm chasing this rooster around the property to the point where customers were like, let me help you. So now I have like a group of 10 different customers and me chasing this chicken around the property, running around like a crazy person. We finally caught, it took like 45 minutes. All of these people running around, like sprinting around the property, chasing a chicken. I wish somebody got it on video because it had to be hilarious. I mean, we finally caught it. I was like, I'm going to murder you son of a bitch. Looking like a crazy person. Ugh.
That is funny. You know what? Because you were religious, I want to say a prayer real quick. Can you give me a hand? Okay. All right. Dear God, the next time that there's a chicken or a rooster running around Windmill Creek
help me
Winery.
Help me.
No. Please let me be there so I can see it happen.
Oh my God.
In your precious name I pray, man.
Amen.
All right.
Oh my God. No, those damn chickens. It's like half of my life. I'm either pulling children out of trees or chasing chickens around because the damn chicken stole an entire foot-long sub from an old lady last year. An entire foot-long sub. It picked it up and ran away with it. Like, you son of a bitch. And she was pissed.
That should have been your tagline.
What do I even do? What do I do to help this situation? Like, I can't do anything.
So did she want it back?
Oh, she was mad. She wanted another sub. And
okay.
She brought it with her. I was like, I don't have an option. She was going to
try to eat it. Like, if you got it back from it.
No. It was gone. They devoured it. The chicken ran off with it, and all of the chickens and ducks devoured the whole thing. It was like a plant. It had to be planned. This chicken knew what was happening. Saw it from a mile away and was like, I'm going to get that sub.
Did she have it in her? Please let her have had it in her hand.
It was sitting in her lap, and the chicken came up right here and just was like, and it ran off with it.
Oh, that is great. That is great. I'm sorry, lady. It's not great. That was great.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
it was a little funny.
All right, look, we are going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up because what's happening now is we're having too much fun.
Yes. A little bit of wine.
And people are probably watching us like, look at their drunk asses.
But my God, we're live. I didn't even realize we were live. I thought that was going up later.
No, we're not live.
Oh, okay.
We're not live. Only me and you can see this. This actually won't air until next Thursday.
Okay.
Right. So, but like, no, I understand why you said that because it says live, but nobody's supposed to know that except me and you. But thanks for letting everyone know.
My bad.
That's okay.
Ignore everything that I say.
And it's funny. It took you an hour and 11 minutes to see that.
Oh, yeah, we've been doing this for over an hour. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
This is fun.
Yes. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're about to wrap up. But before we do, I have one more picture that I want to show. Actually, before we do that, I want you to let everybody know exactly how they can get in contact with you. Okay. If you want them to get in contact with you, anything that you want them to know about them.
Okay, so rundown. Windmill Creek Vineyard. It is 11206 Worcester Highway. It's right outside Ocean Pines in Berlin, Maryland. And we are open Tuesday through Sunday, 12 to 8:30ish. And we have a food truck on site every day, and they have amazing food. You can find them on Facebook. It's the Street Kitchen Food Truck at Windmill Creek. And we do live music Friday through Sunday, and we also have a farmer's market every Friday. Friday, the market starts at 4 and the music starts at 5. And then the music through the rest of the weekend starts at 5 as well. So we always have great bands, and so you can come out. We usually do the music on the front porch. So everybody just brings a lawn chair and hangs out on the front lawn, and it's a great time. So y'all come on out.
It is. It's a wonderful time. It's a lot of fun.
Very unique. It's not your typical winery.
It sure isn't. And they have wine here. So.
There's a little bit of wine.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little
bit.
All right. So before we get out of here, I have one more picture for you. I want you to tell me exactly what it is that you see, okay?
Okay.
All right.
This is the greatest podcast.
Yeah, but don't whisper it. And I could not agree more. Thank you so much for this. This has been an incredible experience.
I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing more things with you in the future. We have some things. I'm not going to get into everything right now.
Secret.
Yep, but we have some things planned.
Be ready.
Yep, we have some things planned. So you all stay tuned. And until next time, everybody, y'all be good.
Cheers.
Cheers.